Welcome, beautiful souls. My name is Michelle Juanita Lamont, and you're about to listen to Manifesting Miracles, a podcast that is top 1% worldwide. It is a podcast about manifesting, neuroscience, and the real shit that nobody talks about to create your dream life. And although this is year 5 of my podcast, this is the very first time I'm going live in front of a camera to record this podcast for YouTube. So for everybody who's listening and watching on YouTube for the first time, hello. I am so excited that you're here, and let's get into it. So this episode is called Nearly Arrested, Always Manifested. And yes, it's a true story. So let's get into it. So I want you to picture this. 5 years ago, I started my podcast, and I'm recording it in my closet in Plano, Texas, with this same microphone I have right now, inside my closet. And I said in episode 2 or 3 that if I was living my dream life, I would be recording this podcast seaside and hosting my first beach retreat. Okay. Last month, both of those things are a reality because I'm living in my second $1 million beach home, and I was hosting my very first sold out beach retreat here in Bel Air. Now, the day of the retreat, I was nearly arrested. And the neuroscience behind that is behind what happened will literally change your life. So let's just talk about it. Okay, so like I said, it's the 5-year anniversary of the podcast, Manifesting Miracles. And as a trauma survivor, as a former alcoholic, I don't know if you ever I don't know the terminology. Are you always an alcoholic? I haven't drank in 6 years. Trauma survivor, all of that. You know, when you get to the point in your life where your dreams actually come true, what they don't tell you is that, you know, your brain never really lets go of the trauma. It just kind of suppresses it, kind of erases it, kind of suspends it in another reality and suppresses it. But on the morning that my dreams were coming true, I literally was 5 seconds away from being arrested. So let's talk about what happened. I woke up that morning, and you have to understand, as a former TV media publicist and somebody who had to take care of everything because everybody in my life was basically useless or using me. And I'm messing with my camera, sorry. So I was always operating in this very much survival mode where everything had to fall on me. So if the scripts weren't right, if the VIP wasn't right, if the red carpet wasn't right, who are they going to blame? They're not going to blame all my employees and my staff and my ex-husband. They're going to blame the person that's name on the door, Lamont PR, me. So as this beach retreat gets closer and closer and closer, my anxiety gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the old Michelle starts showing up. And old Michelle would panic. She wouldn't eat right. She would just freak out. And all of a sudden, I am not Michelle Juanita Lamont anymore. I'm Michelle Lamont. I used to deny my middle name because I didn't want people knowing that I was Colombian, because it was just better for business. And I was in the 3D. I wasn't a live, awake, conscious being. So I wake up the day before the retreat. My printer, which does everything, it like collates, staples, prints, glossy, everything, it will not work. I cannot get it to connect. So now it's the day before the event. I'm going on. And another thing that happens when I was doing these things is that I would always be unable to sleep. Like, even just like 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I was hosting Fox morning show in Washington because I was speaking in Washington. And so they were like, hey, come on our TV show and do a segment, and I ended up hosting the whole morning show. I couldn't sleep. I even had DoorDash delivering sleeping pills at 3 o'clock in the morning because I still couldn't sleep. Same thing. So now I'm on 2 days of no sleep. I can't get the printer to work. I called the printing shop around the corner, and I'm like, did you get everything? It's the morning of the retreat. They're like, yes, we got everything. So I'm on the phone with the chick, and I go outside, and you see, I live in Bel Air Beach in Florida. And in Bel Air Beach, it's very, very exclusive. They're very much trying to keep everybody out. Even their beaches are private, which I think is sick and disgusting. So it is what it is. I live in this incredible place with this beautiful private beach, and at this point, I'm going on zero. My brain is just empty. I'm not eating right. I just can't think. And so I call the UPS or the printer store to say, hey, I'm on my way. I'm about to leave. And I walk out the front door, and in my neighborhood, nobody can park on our street unless they live here, because we're right close. We're right in front of the beach. So I open up the door, and there's just cars everywhere on our street. And another reason why people can't park here is that we're on a cul-de-sac, and if a fire truck or an ambulance comes by, there's not enough room on our streets to get the fire or the ambulance by. So whenever there's an event, a yard sale or whatever, all of us neighbors tell each other, there's only like 10 houses on my street, and nobody had told anybody. I walk outside, my car is in the shop because of whatever, and I have this loaner BMW that's this huge SUV, and I drive a 330, which is small. And I go outside, and this guy is literally getting out of his car, and half of the end of his bumper is blocking my driveway. So I'm like, is this a joke? Is this the universe really trying to just fuck with me? And so I go in and I go, hey, you're going to have to move that car. You're blocking my driveway. And he looks at his partner, the girl, and he looks up at me, and he's like, I think you can manage. And then I hear him as clear as day, fat bitch. And I'm like, did I just get called a fat bitch in my $1 million fucking dream home driveway on the day of my beach retreat? And my mind just starts going bananas. But I'm like, no, calm down. Call the sheriff, call the police. That's what they do all the time. They just basically are like code enforcement officers, because down here, the biggest crime is parking, probably. So I call the sheriff, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be fine. This isn't a red carpet. I'm not going to shut down, whatever. And I get in my car, and I go back outside. The guy left. So the guy must have probably thought, well, she's probably going to call somebody, because she went inside, and he moved his car so I could get out of the driveway. And I see the sheriff coming down the street. So I'm trying to leave my street, and I can't get out. I couldn't leave my own street. And that's when I lost my ever loving mind. So all of a sudden, I just start honking like a crazy person in an SUV. I do not drive. I decide that I'm going to go backwards down the street, because obviously that's the most logical thing to do on the day of my retreat. And so I literally put the car in reverse and, going like way too fast, just haul it down my street in reverse, looking for the sheriff. And as soon as I pull up, I think I'm about to tell the sheriff what time it is. And he had every right, was losing his shit on me. He looked like an egg that was about to explode. He was bald. He had a thick neck. He was all muscle. He had the word army on his, cop uniform, the type. And so he just starts screaming at me, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? And the thing is that I was on the phone with the UPS girl, telling her I was on my way up there, because I was so paranoid and so out of my mind with delusion about how everything was crashing, and I was doing such a bad job, that I told her if she could wait outside with the printer information, I could just grab it out of her hand and go, like making up some kind of drive-through UPS, right? So she hears him go ham on me, and he's like, license, registrations, insurance, you're going to jail. You're getting handcuffs today. And he's like, if I was to scream at this level and say the things he said, I don't think YouTube or Apple or any other distribution center would allow it. He was losing his shit. So all of a sudden, I realize what he's saying. And he's telling me that I was going 10 to 15, maybe 20 miles over the speed limit backwards down a residential street. Now, if I had seen a woman in an SUV going backwards down a residential street and she wasn't arrested, I think I'd be pissed off. So he's like, you're going to jail. And I was like, yep. Not in my whole life, I've never even gotten a ticket. I think I got one ticket in my 20s, but that was it. Like, I've never had a speeding ticket, and I've been in multiple car accidents and et cetera, but this has never happened. So I don't know what to do, and I'm kind of freaking out, and I get super, super, super calm. Just like Zen Michelle comes back, and I realize, like, this is happening. You're going to jail. It's a day of all these people are landing. The golf cart's about to be delivered. The tent, the catering, everything's done. And you're about to fucking go to jail, Michelle. And so all of a sudden, I decided to call the UPS chick, and all my windows are rolled up. I'm waiting. The car's turned off. The sunroof is cracked. But I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail. So all of a sudden, I decide that I'm just going to settle with this and have peace and just calm myself down. So I called the UPS chick, and she was like, "Are you okay? Are you getting arrested?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm getting arrested. But if not, I'll call you and let you know. Could you do me a favor? Could you pray with me?" And you see, my whole life, I always wanted this, right? And I always wanted to live by the ocean and have this amazing podcast, which I do. Thank you to all of you for listening, and have this accolades and notoriety and support from the universe, and to actually live in the ocean, live on the ocean, and have a beach retreat. But I was so worried to receive so much adoration and love. I was so worried that, I just wasn't enough. And so there comes old creepy Michelle coming back in, right? And she just can't get out of her own way. And so I tell her, I said, "I want you to pray with me." And she said, "Let's do it." And I said, I want to pray that I have a mind like Buddha and a heart like Jesus the Christ. And so we started praying. I was like, "Bring me peace, bring me this, bring me that." And so I got totally calm, and I was like, if I go to jail, I go to jail. If I go to jail, I go to jail. It's okay. And my dog's in here, and he's starting to like snore, so I'm trying to wake him up. If I go to jail, it's okay. I'm good with everything that's happening, and I'm gonna be okay. And I just get totally zen and totally calm, which I should have done in the beginning, but neither here nor there. We're gonna get into that in just a second. So I'm totally calm, and I see him get out of the car. I go, "Okay, girl, I gotta go. I gotta get out of the car. He's coming right now." And she was like, "Okay, tell me what happens. Tell me what happens." I'm like, "Okay." So we roll down the window, and he said, "Hey, you know why I had to yell at you like that?" And I was like, "Because you're a man who has rage and regret, and you probably hit people." And I go, "No, why?" He's like, "Because you could have killed somebody." And I was like, "You're right." He's like, "You could have killed an animal." And I started crying, and I was like, "You're right. A child, an elderly person. Do you see how many people are on the street, and you were driving recklessly?" And I was like, "You're right." And he was like, "You know what you could get today? I could arrest you. I could suspend your license. You would have to go to traffic school. You have to get rides for an entire year. I can fine you." And I was like, "Wow, this sounds like it's going to be a big deal, And he goes, "But there's microphones on the outside of our police vehicles." And I just looked at him. I'm like curious, like, why is he telling me this? And he said, "And when you decided to make that call and pray with your friend, I heard it." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "And the thing that I admired the most, she asked, 'Do you want to pray to get out of this ticket?' It goes right into my dashboard. I can hear everything. And you said, 'No, I want to pray to have peace in my heart because what I did was so bad. And I'm so disconnected to who I really am right now. I need Christ in my heart and Buddha in my mind. And that's why I'm giving you the lowest ticket possible.'" And I got a $160 ticket. And when I went inside, I went on to like social media. I went on to Google and did research. And the total amount of fines and cost with the suspended license could have been upwards of $18,000 to $25,000. I wasn't attached to being loved. I wasn't attached to being worthy. I wasn't attached to the fact that I changed so many people's lives. I was attached to my amygdala. And our amygdala flags danger when something new is appears in our reality. Why? Because our brain wants equilibrium. What's equilibrium? Equilibrium is when our brain doesn't change. It just stays steady Eddie. It doesn't go higher. It doesn't go lower. It's just steady, steady, steady. And so when we hit that part of our brain doesn't want to change. Our brain doesn't want to switch. And so anything that's new, that's introduced to the equation, what happens? Well, I'm going to tell you. Our nervous system perceives the new situation as danger because although you can meditate and heal, your trauma never actually ever goes away. It just becomes so dormant and so out of the field of view because you've healed yourself and worked on yourself and listened to my podcast and taken my courses and taken my advice, that you can move forward and manifest $1,000,000 houses and sold out beach retreats and still have your amygdala show up and say, wait a second, bitch, you don't get everything you want. You get everything you believe you deserve. And so that amygdala flags danger and the nervous system perceives success as a threat. It's the old operating system just coming online. And so when that part of your brain that is really trying to just never be a part of your life again, because I've been doing this for 6.5 years, healing myself, working on myself, going back to school, getting, after attempting to unalive myself, going back to school, surviving, manifesting from absolutely rock bottom, episode 2, to now living in my second $1,000,000 beach home on the water and hosting my sold out retreat. And I don't know how to handle it. Why? Well, the first reason is because, the first reason is our RAS. It's called the Reticular Activation System, and it's located at the top of your head. And the Reticular Activation System, it's the filter that reality is based in. So no matter what your actual reality is, there's a part of your brain called the Reticular Activation System, and the RAS for short decides how you perceive your reality. It's like if you decided that, if you thought, I wanted to buy a red car, I want to buy a red car, I want to buy a red car, and then you start talking about it first thing in the morning, your reticular activation system hooks onto it. And it's like red car. And all of a sudden, everywhere you go, all you see is red cars. Well, it's not because the red cars weren't there. It's because the part of you that believed that you were worthy of the red car is now online. And so you believe in what you receive what you believe you deserve. And so in that moment where I was just exhausted and I couldn't self-regulate, I hadn't slept, I couldn't eat, the old version of Michelle, the old way forward showed up, and she needed help. And immediately I recognized it when I thought, okay, this is the worst case scenario. I need to hook into a system. And it's what I teach her on the podcast. It's what I talk about all the time. And then the second thing that happened is the trauma. My trauma doesn't disappear. It just gets quieter. And it got so quiet, I thought it didn't exist anymore. Right? And I could go 3 days without meditating. I could go 3 days without regulating, etc. But what it taught me was that there are two roads. The old dirt road that was showing up, or the new superhighway that I was trying to get connected to. The new superhighway is what I needed, but I was connected to the old dirt road, right? And so all of a sudden, those daily practices to rewire my brain were kicking in. Meditate, come back to source, come back to self, even exhausted, even relentlessly tired, even about to sabotage my dream beach retreat. The neuroplasticity in my brain was like, no, we gotta regulate. So the truth is you don't change, you don't change your thoughts, don't change your life. Your nervous system changes your life. And this is why I created Soul Contract 2026. I don't want you to manifest your dream life and almost get arrested or crash out or do something. And so the thing that I need you to hear is, though, although I was nearly arrested, but always manifested, my reticular activation system, old trauma, not self-regulating, not understanding myself, and not taking care of myself, I was just treating myself the way I used to treat myself instead of self-regulating and doing the things that I normally do. So I want to invite you to a program that I've created called Soul Contract 2026. It's a limited program, and it starts in January, but it is Soul Contract 2026. Manifest your biggest, bravest year, your biggest, bravest, most abundant year ever. So there's A, B, and C. A is a 5-week intensive that I will have an enrollment of up to 30 people. It will cap out at 30. And we will take 2026 is a 1 year in numerology. So it's a perfect time to reset and redesign your life. What happened if you spent an entire year, not only just with me, but a group of other people who are fully ready to manifest their dream life? What if that year starts January 1st, 2026? Soul Contract 2026, manifest your biggest, bravest, most abundant year ever with me, Michelle Juanita Lamont. And what we're going to do for the first 6 weeks, we're going to get in there and we're going to look at all your soul contracts. We're going to rewrite your story. We're going to rewrite your energy. We're going to open new portals. We're going to look at your numerology. I'm going to teach you how to plan out your first 3 months, your second 3 months, your third 3 months, and your last 2026, so your life never looks the same again. And then if you're really ready to take yourself to a level where you've never perceived, you're going to go to step 2, which is B. And so B is bound. So what we're going to do is I'm going to allow 15 of the 30 students to do 6 3-day workshops throughout the year with me. And we're going to be in a group chat all year long, and every other month we will have a workshop. But when we're not in workshop months, you're going to have audio classes, you're going to have videos, you're going to have workbooks to help you, push you, to help you in Soul Contract 2026 to manifest your biggest, bravest, and most abundant year ever. And that way you learn how to do it for the rest of your life. And then if you're really, really serious and you're like, no, I need more, I'm all the way in, Michelle, how do I even go deeper? Well, here's how you get all the way in. You go all the way to C. And I'm going to allow 10 of the 30 to join this program. And so you'll get all of A, all of B, and 6 90-minute one-on-one sessions with just me and you, going over your plan, going over the soul contract, how to use this, how to use that. And we're going to be using that in the classes in the workshop as well. But this gives you the individual attention and focus to say, I gave it everything. Most people have never invested in themselves like that. Most people do it for their kids and their friends and their family, and they're always pouring from this empty cup. Stop doing that. If you're ready to truly change your life, if you're truly ready, then I'm going to be opening up applications in November 1st. You'll have the entire year, Soul Contract 2026, to regulate, to let go, to release, to be big and brave with a group of people who are going to be supporting. You'll have friends from around the world that are also in this program, cheering you on and listening and helping. And when you get low, we will lift you up. But imagine spending an entire year like this, fully invested in your energy, in your creating, and in your conceptual. And I am going to be there to pick you up and guide you and lead you every step of the way. So that's how the conclusion of our very first podcast on YouTube live, although it is not my first podcast. It is going on 5 years now for the month of October. So I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. And if this is your first time tuning in, we do something very special on the podcast. We close out by saying a chant together. So let's do it right now. And in 3, 2, 1. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Us again. Everything is always working out for us. Everything is always working out for us. Everything is always working out for us. Everything. Yes, honey bunny. Yes, honey bunny. Yes, honey bunny. It's Michelle Juanita Lamont telling you right now that you are so worthy of this. So go manifest your dreams. Go listen to another episode and another episode and another episode. And at the very least, join SSOM. It is time for you to get into my community. And the first month is always free. We did it. Oh, we did it. Okay. I love you guys so much. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you to all of my new YouTube fans and subscribers. And this will be this first of many, many to come. So it is time right now for you to go and manifest your miracles. Producers, cue that motherfucking music. I love you. You got this and I got you. Yes.